All right, well, good morning, y'all. Welcome back. So I'm out here in the garage and I'm getting ready to do some work on the rig there in the driveway. And what we're going to do today is we are going to be installing this monstrosity. So I'm getting ready for a road trip. I'm going to be out for at least a couple of weeks. And something that I always struggle with is cell phone reception. So I picked this thing up. It's from a company called weBoost. I bought this on Amazon. I use my own money for this. This isn't any kind of sponsored ad or anything like that. So it's a weBoost Drive Reach Overland Cell Signal Booster. So I need to mount this to the roof. You get a little box that goes inside. There's also a little antenna. And then you just run this to a 12-volt power source and it will boost your cell phone signal. So like if you have 1 bar of regular service and you turn this thing on, you should get full bars. And kind of depending on what you're doing, it may be able to hold that 1 bar longer than if you were just out and you saw that your phone did not have any signal. This might be able to pick something up and amplify it so that you can use it. So the hope is that I don't ever lose cell signal, but we shall see. So let's go ahead and pop this thing out of the box quick. I did look at it yesterday already because I was going to try to figure out how I was going to mount this thing. It's got a clamp that will mount. Here, hold on, let me grab this. And it's like misting out here, which is awesome. But it's got a clamp that is supposed to mount to this stuff. But the way I want to mount it, I'm going to put it down here. And so that way, when it folds over, it will be completely protected by this. Maybe I'll change that up at some point, but I was supposed to leave for this road trip in like an hour, and I don't think that's gonna happen. But anyways, let's pop this thing open and take a look at it. All right. This is stuff that I'm going to need to install it. Coffee. Come on. Set that off to the side. All right. There's what you get. I know you guys can't see it. Some instruction manuals and whatnot. Here's your antenna mount, but that's like going to be the first thing we need to do, along with these couple of pieces, I think, and that. This is the inside antenna, so it's pretty small, but this will just, comes with a little piece of sticky back stuff, and you stick this somewhere inside. I'll have to kind of read the directions, see if there's a specific place where I need to mount that, but that plugs into this. So this is your actual signal amplifier, and it's not overly big. I mean, compared to the size of my hand. Ideally, I'd like to hide this somewhere, but for the time being, since I need to do this quickly, I am just going to mount this to my seat delete, and it should be fine. I shouldn't hit it on anything. And it's actually, let's see if I can show you. So it's got these little tabs on the side here, and it's got that on both sides. So this just pops right off of here. See if I can do this without breaking everything in one hand. There you go. That pops off. And this, I'll screw this in. It's got a couple of holes. And then this just pops in there. You have a cord that goes from your outside antenna, goes in one side of this thing. And then this comes out the other side. And somewhere in here, there should be a 12-volt plug. This plugs into this thing, and then you can just plug this into any 12-volt power source, and it's got a switch on the back of it here, so you can turn it on and off. And that's it. So you can easily transfer this thing from vehicle to vehicle. Here's our big dangly antenna. Oh, and I'm gonna break it if I'm not careful, but there we go. And it's got like a spring plate and an extension that you need to put But the coolest thing about this one, and this is what the Overland is in this setup, why they call it Overland, because they make a few of these. Some of these, they make a little magnetic mount where the antenna is basically this large. They make some that are just permanently mounted with the antenna sticking up. But if you take this one, and you see it's got this knob on the side here, you can pull that knob out and you can turn it and lay your antenna down. So if you're going through trees or something like that, it's not going to damage your antenna. So this is going to get mounted inside my basket. That way, if I have it laying down, nothing can hit it from even the front. I believe there's a little, this may be it here. There's like a little support piece, so when you lay your antenna down, there's a little piece that'll stick up that'll like hold it in there. So we'll see about that. But step one is I need to get this thing mounted. And it's got these two plates here. And why don't we just take all this stuff out to the truck and I'll show you out there. It'll be the easiest way to do it. Yeah, this rain kind of sucks. All right, how's this gonna work? There we go. So you're looking at the front of my box here, and so it comes with these two mounting pieces here. This one is supposed to go on the bottom of this, and then you would put it around a bar like so and clamp it down. But I don't want it up this high, because then even if I were to flip it down, it's still all exposed up here. And you can remove these screws on there. You can hard mount this, but you can also rotate it on this plate. So I could turn it this way so that it does come down. My next thought was, I put it down here on the bottom, but then obviously it can't fold up because it hits this one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mount it in here like this, because these bars are too skinny for this plate. They won't clamp onto this. What I'm gonna do is kind of mount it in between here. It does come with some T-track mounting, but the way this sits, there's nowhere in here that I can get a bite on that T-track, which kind of sucks. And this thing can't move back or forward at all. So I picked up some of these clamps, which are the same thing that I used to mount my curtains. They're just 1/2-inch cable clamps. Let me open one of these up right here. And these will go around these little bars like so. And if I get 4 or something like on there, can you guys see how that is on there? Maybe, maybe not. It just goes around there, and then once I screw it, it'll clamp it tight and it won't move. But if I take like 4 of those, I should be able to get this in here. Maybe. Always doing things with one hand. And I should be able to kind of mount it like that with, you know, one of these on each corner. And that should be steady enough. So I'm just gonna quickly take care of that. So hopefully we can just use these provided bolts and whatnot and get this thing bolted down on these clamps. Well, already ran into an issue. Since these threads don't go all the way up and I'm not adding that base plate to this thing, I need something that's threaded all the way to the bottom. So I'm gonna have to go in the garage and see if I can find something. Sweet. All right, I have these in the garage. We'll see if I can make these work. Without spilling them all over my roof. Hopefully they fit through these holes. That's all that's gonna matter yet. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, let's get some bolts on the bottom of this. Leave it right there, it should be fine. All right. So it does have lock washers in the original kit, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw one of those on each of these. Just might as well use it kind of thing. This is really awkward right here. It ain't going anywhere. That's about as solid as you're gonna get in there. You can lean over. All right, let's get the rest of this antenna assembled. The worst part of this thing, and I'm already annoyed by it, but it's nothing I can do. Angle camera. The most annoying part is going to be that there's going to be a wire running across my roof, and I'm going to have to kind of try to tie down and or hide. That's super annoying, but okay. I don't exactly know how this antenna needs to go together, so I need to look at the instructions, but first another sip of coffee. We've got our mast extension. Oh, I need this piece. And it looks like there is some Loctite in there. I need this piece. And so I can do this kind of in here. We'll take, got our antenna. Of course, I don't have a side cutter in here right now. Dang it. I gotta put zip ties on everything. This needs to go through your antenna extension here. Alright. I need to put thread locker on the top of the antenna. Yes. So it comes with a little thing of blue thread locker here. I need to do thread locker on the top and the bottom. Little bit on there. This just screws in. We do the same thing on the bottom here. Before you install the spring, you have this extension here that goes in, and this is where your cable will come out the side right here. A little bit more thread locker. We go with spring. This is so if it is up and it nails something, hopefully it doesn't break. Alright. We have our antennae assembled. All of that nonsense. Let's figure out the next step. This cable. Pull on this. Go 45. Set it down so that it doesn't get damaged by anything. We've got our other cable here. Yeah, it would be really nice to have some thread locker. I'm gonna go underneath here. Not thread locker. It would be nice to have some shrink wrap. So we might have to stop and get some. You can just do that with a lighter. just gonna route this in the top of the door because that's how it shows to do it. But see the antenna dangling there. We're just gonna bring it over and run it right in through here because that's how they show themselves doing it. We'll just run it right in there. And then as far as this thing goes, this is gonna mount right there for now. Let me go ahead and pull this stuff out. So you can see it easier. So nothing should hit it because it doesn't stick out even as far as this stuff does. And it'll work perfectly right here for now. Two, there is a light on the front that gives you some information on how this is working, so it'll be nice to be able to see that. Ideally, I'd probably mount it under here somewhere, but I do have a lot of junk under here, or mount it behind this panel. But for now, since we're supposed to leave on a road trip today, we're just gonna slap this thing in here like so after we pull this cord in. And let's see, cord management, we'll take care of that a little bit. It's gonna actually go underneath that. I think we're gonna do that. All right guys, so a little bit of a change of plans on how I plan to mount this. It does have those little holes where you can mount a screw, and they're beveled, so it should sit flush. But since I kind of want to move this to where it's actually out of the way, I have these little command strips that are Velcro. This will come apart, and usually you have a male and a female side, and these will stick to this really easily. And then they're sticky on the back. So I'm just gonna put the 3 of those strips onto this thing, and this should hold it. If for some reason I have an issue finding a couple of screws on the road so that I could mount it permanently is not gonna be an issue. But I've also seen people just have these in a bag, and then it's all just kind of dangling in a bag, and they can put it up and use it as they feel necessary. Like I said, some of the antennas have magnet mounts so that you can easily move this from vehicle to vehicle. You don't have to pay for it. It's not like a service, it's just an amplifier. There we go. This should just mount up here like so. Bada bing, bada boom. I got it all dirty. Sticker, come off, sticker. There we go. That's not gonna fall off of there. So let's get our antenna mounted. I did run that cable through this top thing right here. You can see that there's a gap. So that's your top weather seal, and then this is your actual like inner weather seal. I shoved it behind this little panel right here and ran it back, and now I'm gonna run it down here and probably wind this up, and I can shove that back here, run the cable back up to that, blah blah blah, yakety schmackety. All right, so I mentioned earlier that there was like a support piece for when the antenna was down, but I am not seeing that in the box. I'll have to make sure, but I thought that's what I saw on one of the videos that I watched on this thing, so we'll see about that. But I think maybe that's good for now. I do have some space behind this seat delete, so I should be able to finagle this wire in there if I don't block the whole thing with my head. There we go. I can do that. That could look worse, I guess. All right, next is this small antenna. And I am gonna bust out a tape measure because it says no more than 36 inches away from where you're going to be using your phone at. And mine usually sits in the center console. Ideally, I'd like to put it right here on the back window, but I think that's a little bit more than 36 inches. So I might stick it like right here. I think that might work well, because that's less than 36 right there. Because I gotta hide this wire is the thing, so like finding the appropriate place to put this. So let me just, where's tape measure? Yeah, that's 55 inches away if I put it on the back window. And right there, if I put it on the side, is like exactly 36. So we're just gonna do the side right up here because it's gonna be the easiest to like tuck the wire in up here. I'll be able to tuck it in up here and run it probably underneath this thing, kind of the same way down into that, and then down into this. I guess I got to point the camera where I'm trying to shoot. They give you plenty of wire. All right, so I've got the 12-volt plug up here. The cable goes down between the seats here. Put this back forward. Kind of comes out. You guys can't see it. I need to vacuum the floor in here, I guess. There it is right there. Goes underneath here and then underneath the side, and kind of pops up right there and plugs in. This is a cable for an old backup camera that I had that I don't have on there anymore, so I need to remove that at some point or replace the camera. But there we go, we've got this all wired in. Those cables just go up, one goes out right here, and then on the outside I did pick up where's the bag? I guess I'll just show it to you. These little guys, which are like stick-on cable management things, and then you can zip tie a cable to it just to keep this from flopping around on the roof. We've only got a couple up here. I got the heat shrink on that connection there, and there's the antenna there. Like I said, there was no little bracket to support it, so we'll see. But for now, I need to measure how tall this whole thing is. But let's see if it powers up. And I won't really be able to test it here because I have a good signal, but we'll see if it'll boost it. So let's turn this on. And we've got a green light here, which I don't know what that means because I didn't read the directions. But I did hear that like your phone isn't going to automatically connect to this. So what you need to do is, I have 4 bars of 4G right now, so we'll see if it'll boost it to 5. What I need to do is, I guess you could turn your data off completely, but it says if you switch your phone into airplane mode and let it sit like that for like 10-15 seconds or whatever, so it disconnects. When you turn that off and it searches for a signal, it's going to connect to this one. So let's see if that ups my signal, or maybe it gives me 5G. This is 5G compatible. Airplane mode off, and I have now 5 bars of 5G. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see that at all. So it did take the signal and it boosted it, but there's no real way of knowing like that you're connected to it other than the fact that it's going to boost your signal. So where I'll be heading out on this trip, I'll be in areas where I know that I would typically lose signal. So we'll see how well it works. I'm just going to have to be conscious of shutting this thing off or unplugging it when it's not in use, but I'm just going to go ahead and close this video out here because I have got to get my junk ready. I'm already like 3 hours behind schedule, and yeah, that's how it usually goes though, right? So anyways, I got a bunch of junk to clean up, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully that big old dangly thing up there works well. Eventually I'd like to maybe move it to the roof of the truck, but mounting options and all of that stuff. So anyways, stay tuned for the road trip that's coming up and all that, but hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next adventure. I'll see you in a bit.